Mercedes' in-house tuner AMG is letting the four-door GT 63S E-Performance with 843 horsepower off the chain in 2022. The four-door model has been on the market since 2018. Now comes the new top motorization, an ultra-powerful hybrid engine. It's the most powerful production AMG on the planet to date. It should have a pure electric range of 12 kilometers and deliver on the racetrack. Until now, hybrid technology has not necessarily stood for high performance or emotional vehicles, but rather for functional vehicles. And we wanted to show that the hybrid drive can also be very performant in addition to being efficient. So the task was to make a car that can drive purely electrically. So if you want to leave home in the morning, you can do that electrically, but that uses the electric drive primarily to give the vehicle more performance. What kind of car is the ultra-strong GT four-door? A very sporty luxury sedan or a sports car with room for passengers? Or put another way, can the nearly 2.4-ton E-Performer also convince on the track? Drifting is possible thanks to the superpower. Five-time DTM champion and former Formula One driver Bernd Schneider now develops for AMG. He helped tune the GT 63S E-Performance. I drove in a Falterbach, drove a couple of tracks, because it was all about issues like ABS behavior and so on. But I really drove on the track for the first time here in Monteblanco. The Monteblanco racetrack in Spain, 60 kilometers from Seville. Here, the AMG with Performance Hybrid has to show what it's made of. Visually, the GT is rather discreet, except for its Jupiter red color. Only the lettering and carbon elements reveal its power. 20-inch rims and the 420mm carbon ceramic high-performance brakes are standard. The interior is tidy, but the operation of the double-spoke steering wheel takes some getting used to. The buttons hardly give any feedback. Otherwise, all buttons are in place. Especially the center console with its numerous buttons is somehow reminiscent of the Porsche Panamera. However, the workmanship is impeccable. The sports bucket seats are comfortable and provide very good lateral support. There's nothing to complain about. Only a discreet flap in the rear bumper reveals that the GT four-door can also be electrically charged. The rear is rounded off by the typical AMG square tailpipes. The AMG's E-Performance powertrain produces the aforementioned 843 horsepower. Its powerful 4-litre V8 on the front axle is supported by a 204 horsepower electric motor on the rear axle. Thus, the car has all-wheel drive, like the Porsche, and at the same time a maximum combined torque of 1470 newton-meters as peak power. The competition, the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. The second generation will have 700 horsepower from 2020. Its base price of €194,600 is exactly €3,000 lower than the starting price of its AMG counterpart. It is expected to cover a distance of around 50 kilometers on electric power alone. For the racetrack, the AMG's powertrain has one major drawback. The additional electric components bring the total weight to the 2.4 tons already mentioned. The control electronics, an electric motor, its 89-kilogram battery, and a 2-speed additional transmission on the rear axle for the electric motor, they all have to be combined by the Mercedes engineers into the hybrid drive called E-Performance.
E-Performance deswegen.
E-Performance because we combine an internal combustion engine with an electrified drivetrain. Not in the sense of a long-range hybrid, but a performance hybrid. This is our interpretation of the path between internal combustion engine drive and electrification. And the biggest challenge here is to have these players act together, like a coach on the soccer field, in such a way that in the end a team emerges from it. That is, the dynamics of an electric motor with the brute force and high power of the internal combustion engine.
Mit dem brachialen Antritt und der hohen Leistung des Verbrennungsmotors.
The result? You can drive short distances in the city and across the country almost silently and purely electrically. Or the brute soundscape of the AMG engine drowns out the countryside birdsong. The battery can be recharged while driving in sport and performance mode. When it is full, we manage just under 10 kilometers purely on electric power at a constant 120 kilometers per hour. In the city, at lower speeds, 12 electric kilometers are quite realistic. But the two powertrains work most impressively together on the racetrack. An AMG is built for the road and can do the track. And the nice thing is that we've still managed to achieve a balanced driving feel through the extra weight we have, which you don't necessarily want on the track. We have a 50-50 weight distribution, which makes the car more neutral and easy to drive at the limits. You have 843 horsepower, which also has to be tamed, and you feel extremely comfortable in the car because the balance simply works. On the racetrack, the drivetrain can convince with its sheer power, even though the high weight prevents the rating sports car. That's our role, which is to position the Mercedes brand in the direction of sportiness. That was our task in the past, and it will be even more so in the future. We will play an even more important role in the future. Our position has been strengthened in recent years by the vehicles we have developed ourselves. The GT, for example, the two-door and four-door models. Now the SL, a completely new product that is in the range, that will continue in the future through our own electric platform AMG EA, our own electric architecture just for AMG, on which we will make our sports cars. The E-Performer is a harbinger on the road to all-electric mobility, also at AMG. Its name GT, Grand Tourer, meaning made for the Grand Tour, clearly points in the direction of its true purpose. It is more of a power luxury sedan than a thoroughbred sports car. The 5.05-metre-long GT four-door is best able to show off its strengths on the country road and highways in everyday driving. The bandwidth of competencies: electric driving, mega performance, interior space, and four doors. Its character is a very sport-tuned S-Class, but with much more AMG power.